Hi, this is Jazmin, Teacher 1 at Sorsogon National High School. I'm currently enrolled at Sorsogon State University School of Graduate Studies, taking up Master of Arts in Education, major in English. I started to teach at this school on June 4, 2018. And in July 30, 2019, I left SNHS to look for a much greener pasture. I went to Singapore, then on January 2020, I went back to the Philippines because of the pandemic. Then, on November 19, 2020, I went back to Sorsogon National High School. Introduction. This paper is a case study of three Filipino women who went to South Korea when being offered to teach at an academy during the summer season. Two of the three teachers married a Korean businessman who studied English in the Philippines for 2 years. These three teachers faced many difficulties on their teaching job. Koreans have this kind of perception of what foreign teachers should look and sound like. If you do not fit their perceptions, then you are simply not qualified to hold a teaching post in any educational institution in their country. This kind of society underscores the influence and power of language. It is being said that the influence and power of language is meaningful to cultural and ethnic group member. Objectives. The objectives are: first, understand intricacies and potencies of the particular entity. Second, discover the thoroughness connections of the experiences, behaviors, and relevant attributes of the milieu. And lastly, demonstrate understanding of culturally mediated communication phenomena. As for the methods, I have here participants, research site, and research design, data sources, and data analysis. For the participants, I have the three teachers, A, B, and C. They were in their early and mid-20s when they went to South Korea. They used Tagalog and English in their everyday life. Since they have not taken the licensure examination for teachers yet after graduating, they decided to go to an ESL company in the Philippines. They worked in this industry for quite some time before accepting the offer to go to South Korea and be an academy teacher during the summer season. They then began to teach English in an academy to which has a branch in the Philippines. Research site. At the time of writing this study, teachers A and B are in Seoul, living with their husband and children, while teacher C is in the southern part of South Korea in Gangwon province. Teachers A and B work at an academy in Seoul, while teacher C works as an English teacher in a kindergarten. Teachers A and B teach English to different grade levels who want to improve their skill in writing and speaking. It is an after-school program. As for the research design, data sources, and data analysis, by examining how the three teachers use their linguistic resources in multiple units such as home, school environment, students, academy's owner, this paper aims to understand the complexity and dynamic nature of the particular entity and to discover systematic connections among experiences, behaviors, and relevant features of the context. Johnson, 1992. The primary data sources for this study include semi-structured interview with the two teachers A and B, two students, Koreans, and the academy owner. In the interview, the participants were asked about their demographic information, their experiences in learning and using English, their perceptions about interacting with native and non-native speakers of English. To analyze the data collected, this course analysis was adopted. This is to understand how language is used in real-life situations and how my participants challenged and reconstructed existing power relations. Results. After gathering the data from the interviews, three sets of topics developed after analyzing the information almost from the three teachers, academy owner, students, and co-teachers. These are: first, teachers A, B, C demeanors toward Korean and English. Second, the three teachers' use of English within the Korean academy and kindergarten setting to control the power differences. And lastly, their experiences that set some boundaries between the people around them. Although these three subjects were interconnected, I will expound on each independently for the reason of better understanding. The three teachers use their language in particular ways. They deploy their accumulated linguistic resources and implicitly adapt their words to the demands of the social field. Hence, every linguistic interaction, however personal or insignificant it may seem, bears the traces of the social structure that it both expresses and helps to reproduce. Let's talk about teachers A, B, C demeanors to Korean and English language. Teachers A, B, and C did not know any Korean words when they first went to South Korea. This led to a significant language barrier between them and the people around, school, office, and apartment. They even blamed themselves for not taking lessons to Korean language before going to South Korea. This brought anxiety to the three. The people around them could not understand them and vice versa. They even decided to just go back to the Philippines and continue what they have started. Describing their life in Korea, "We don't know how to speak Korean and we could not even get what they say. When we talk to them in English, they would just look at us and say nothing as if we do not exist," they said. This went on for 2 months. After, anxiety and frustration were gone. They claimed that they had to face all the troubles being there and had this kind of mindset. "We are young, university graduate, and proficient in English. We have to show to these people who we really are." The three teachers were proud of their profession as English Academy teachers. Their word of mouth was, "We are English teachers. We teach English." They were fully aware of the symbolic and economic value of English and the authority that Koreans attach to being a teacher, and they were able to navigate how to advertise their English proficiency as well as their identity as teachers. With this mindset, they were able to continue their lives as Filipino teachers teaching English to Koreans. Their reluctance to learn Korean language stemmed from their pride as English speakers and fluent at that. They presented themselves as native speakers who do not have Filipino accent. This led them to use English without hesitation and without any attempts to speak Korean. The second one is teachers A, B, C use of English within the Korean academy and kindergarten setting to control the power differences. The three teachers' demeanor toward Korean and English empower them to assume that they may be able to negotiate power relations and become a speaker as they possess proficiency in English. Whenever there was a parent-teacher conference, they would tell them that their Korean proficiency was limited and that they would just use the English language. This is from an interview on March 3, 2021. Interviewer: you always talk to them in English? Do they understand? The three teachers: yes, we say that we cannot converse with them in Korean, that we can just use English in every conversation. Maybe they do understand us, but sometimes we think they do not. Interviewer: what do you do if you think they cannot understand what you are saying? The three teachers: we do some actions. Interviewer: you really do not use Korean language just for the sake of better understanding on their part? The three teachers: we really don't, and we apologize for it. Interviewer: okay. With a statement that apologizes for their limited Korean, they seem to give the people around them two options. The three teachers can just use English to communicate with them, or they can just put some actions when explaining. Since the people around them did not bother to ask them what their first languages are, this shows pride on their part as English speakers in their perception of English. In fact, this links back to Brown and Livingston's 1987 viewpoint on the evaluation of power, distance, and rank. And the last one is their experiences that set some boundaries between the people around them. The academy owner and their co-teachers tell teachers A, B, and C to learn Korean language. Academy owner said, you need to learn Korean language for you to be able to be understood. This is from an interview dated on March 3, 2021. Interviewer: what is your manager's stand on your reluctance to learn Korean? The three teachers: actually, he keeps on telling us to learn that language. He would say that learning Korean would be our great advantage. Interviewer: what would you say if he tells you something like that? The three teachers: we just shrug our shoulders. Interviewer: what is the reason behind for your reluctance to learn Korean language? In Rome, they say that if you are in that country, you must speak like Romans do. I think it must also apply to South Korea. I am not saying to learn that language, just the basic ones. The three teachers: teaching in Korea, we are accustomed to doubting our skills because of their preference to native speakers. That is the reason why we do not learn their language to show them that we can communicate well in English. Conclusions. Language is power, a power that can change throughout time using people and communication. Language helps communicate with other people. Lately, different countries have been learning English to help communicate with one another. As a result, English classes were created. English enables one country to be more competitive, gives people a tool to advertise their country. Non-English speaking countries, moreover, force limits to these approaches in a range to protect their own identity, languages, cultures, and traditions. It was in Korea that teachers A, B, and C came across with the term globalization. People insist that globalization is the key to Korea's success. Even though people believe in globalization, their beliefs and actions do not measure up to their thinking. When employers advertise for native speakers only and conceal the nationality of their non-native English teachers, they ignore the true meaning of globalization, that is, opening to new and different ways of thinking. In this sense, what then Three Teachers case demonstrates is the clash between principles of English as an international language and principles of monolingualism in Korea. That is, activating the symbolic power of English at the global level. This enigma is indeed a symbolic power game, played on the local and on the worldwide level. To sum this up, this paper presents a case of immigrant people who face challenges. These immigrants point out the issue of non-recognition of skills, education degrees and qualifications from institutions and universities from the Philippines. Other challenges include finding meaningful jobs and the inability to communicate using their own language, or, in other terms, language barrier. Teachers A, B, and C drew on the concepts that are part of their distinctive approach that can be understood as the product of the relation between a linguistic market. They used their language in particular ways. They deployed their accumulated linguistic resources and implicitly adapt their words to the demands of the social field they are in. Bourdieu's account sheds fresh light on the ways in which linguistic usage varies according to considerations such as class and gender. It also opens a new approach to the ways in which language is used in the domain of politics. These are my references.